Say this. So when you hear me and you hear me say God is black, hey, don't sit up here and take offense to what I'm saying, because you will scroll all through these little videos like this, right? What color are they depicting God? That look like a white man to me. That look like a white man. Are you going to go to them and say, hey, God doesn't have any color? Of course not, because you only bring that up when we tell the truth. This is not the image of God. Look at that hair. Look at that hair. Look at his hair. Is that wool? Is that wool? Is that hair that look like wool? No. If anything, that look like Zeus. And then let's look at this. Okay. This is what they say Adam looked like. Don't that look like a white man? Don't that look like a white man? But see, so when you hear me say Adam was black, there's no such thing as white dirt. This is not what Adam looked like. Look, they even make the angels appear as white. What color is his skin? What color is that? That don't look black. This is not the image of God. This looks like Zeus. And we all know that that's not God. See why I don't like these videos? Because now in these little videos, now they just use that one right here as the image of the Most High, right? And look at that hair. That's not hair that look like wool. That is not hair that look like wool. But now they got, who they say God was. Now they got him bowing to some false. This is a false doctrine. The Most High doesn't bow before anybody, but this is what they say the Archangel Michael looked like. Look, that's a white man. Look at the angel in the back on their knees. That's a white one. That don't look like a white man to you? This is what they say Gabriel looked like. Look, ain't this a white man? But see, when they hear me say that the angels are black, because this is a lie. The angels are black. The Most High is black. Christ is black. And so is the Holy Spirit. With hair of wool. Oh, it's a problem. Look, this is what they say the angels look like. Look at them at the top, like by the time and by the subscriptions. You can see that's white. They depict them all of them is white. Where's black people in this picture? Look, no black folks, right? See, this is what you have to do when you are the 3%. When you are actually the smallest race out of all the races. This is what you have to do. You have to do stuff like this to make yourself feel better. But this is why their fall is going to be so hard. Look at the comments. So you know this has a lot of views, right? People really believe this. They believe that this is what the angels look like. This is, they're white. Everything is white. And God is white. But that's a lie. That's a lie. Then, when I get to speaking, oh, well, his color doesn't matter. Well, if his color doesn't matter, then why the hell is this? Why is it this? If his color did not matter, why did the 6th Pope of Rome, Rodrigo Borgia, hire I think it was Leonardo da Vinci, to paint his son, Cesare Borgia, a poisoner, a homosexual, and somebody who had sex with his own sister. This is who was used to be the image of Christ during the Renaissance, when iconoclasm came into play. You have to understand the backhandedness. It's like, oh, his color doesn't matter, but then they doing stuff like this. This is white supremacy. This is white supremacy. And it's going to be sad for them because in the end, they are going to see that they were lied to. Iconoclasm is the destruction of religious images, a movement most famously seen in the Byzantine Empire, 8th through 9th centuries, opposing icons of Christ and saints, but also relevant to changing biblical figures' depictions, as iconoclasts would destroy or alter existing images, while later whitewashing represents a cultural shift where European art depicted quote-unquote Middle Eastern figures. Before the 1800s, there was no term such as Middle East, as white, ignoring historical reality for theological or aesthetic reasons, which means that they pretty much saying, oh yeah, they were black, but we're going to repaint them as white, and we're just going to steal their culture. That's what that means. Now I'm about to show you why it matters.
Ireland and Scotland, blatant examples of whitewashing, featuring King Charles II of England. King Charles ruled England, Ireland, and Scotland from 1660 to 1685. Outside a pub in Worcestershire, England, called the Black Boy Hotel, is the most authentic illustration we have of the king to our disposal, where he's illustrated with brown skin. Other pubs and hotels across England ensure that they have a whitened version of the king, with minimal signs of wear and tear, showing that it was a recent modification. First-hand accounts consistently describe King Charles as swarthy, black and dark in complexion. One of them states, Charles II went under the same denomination, for he was none of the son of King Charles I, but the son of one of the Queen's fiddlers, begot by him on the body of the Queen, and was so like him, a huge swarthy black fellow, with his great blobber lips, that any person that knew the one would swear the other to be his son. This, no doubt, fits the image on the left. The remaining statues we have of the king are mostly withered and damaged, which displays the originality of the statues. This statue
that looked just like Rick James. But you could tell this is a black man. You could tell. And look, tucked away in the corner. Come on, man.
In particular shows the great blobber lips the king was described with.
Look.
The fake modified statues of the king appear much newer, with minimal signs of wear and tear, clearly showing that they were made in more recent times.
See, because this is their kingdom. This is their kingdom right now. So that's why they've done little stuff like this. And this is how you could tell, that they have a mental illness. When you do stuff like this, something is deeply, deeply mentally wrong with you. Like, how long did you think this was gonna last? Like, I mean, are you that stupid that you think we as a people are that stupid that we will forget, like, that we were kings and queens and that we are a royal people? Like, are you that dumb? But they are. They are. This is why they lower people like on the MAGA end, the lower dummies of them. They are going to have such a great fall. A lot of them is going to be hard to recover from because they're going to find out they've been lied to their whole life. And it's because of greed and jealousy and envy.
Signifying that the sculptures deviate much from the appearance of the king.
Well, this is what happened. This is why your sons and daughters believe Jesus was white, Christ was white. You see in the foreground the white man, Greek Orthodox, painting over the black images. It's called iconoclasm.
So when they, in their Renaissance period, when they began to take the artwork, they took all this artwork that was drawn by us. Look at him, he's sitting there looking at one and recreating it to look like them.
Exactly. This is the evidence that they've always hated the way we look. This is crafty counsel to keep us asleep. Okay, you see the one above it. He got a paintbrush in his hand and paint to the side of him. Okay, to paint over the images. That's what they are hired to iconoclast. That's what they were hired to do. Then these images show up in our textbooks, in our churches, and we go, oh, white people, how grand.
It's always the hair that tells the true story about the true ethnicity of our ancient people. But not only the hair tells the story, there's actually another huge piece here. You notice how the nose is missing on this statue? Seemingly chiseled out. Now what's interesting about this is a very common theme amongst many ancient statues and sculptures found around the world. Even on the Sphinx of Egypt, again, on all these ancient statues, the nose has seemingly been chiseled out. It's because the nose tells the real story, guys. It tells the real story. And when we see Greek statues like this, intact nose, no problem, white people, you know. And then you got the chiseled out nose here because it's telling the real story of our true ancestors. You think that it's just a coincidence that all of these ancient statues have the nose chiseled out? Well, let me tell you, it's most definitely not a coincidence, and it's just another way to cover up the real origins of humanity and our true history. Peace and love.
They never told you this. The prophets of the Bible, from Moses to Christ, were black. Not olive, not pale. Black like the soil they came from. Let's start with the truth they buried. Egypt, Ethiopia, Israel, all part of ancient Africa. The people who lived there weren't Europeans. They were people of the sun. Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian because he looked like one, and Egyptians were African. The prophet Jeremiah said, "Our skin was black like an oven." That's in your Bible. Jesus was born in North Africa, fled into Egypt as a child. Why? Because he blended in. You can't hide a white baby in Africa. Every image you've seen, the paintings, the movies, the blonde angels, were made centuries later in Europe, not to tell truth, but to control it. The Bible's story didn't begin in Rome. It began in Africa, among people who carried the same melanin you do. Still watching?
Well, look who ended up in my church announcements. You know what? This man is a narcissist. A big, slow fool who has no shame. No shame. After all that ridicule and embarrassment that he endured from looking like a fool and making that woman look like a fool, you would think he would lay low for a little bit, you know? Nope, he ain't even smart enough to do that. Y'all better listen to his music and hug on him and love on him now, because this man burning in hell. He's going straight to hell. Your vision was blurry. You wanted to create this church and these apartments. That was for you. God ain't told you to do that. And that's why it hasn't taken off. because it's not meant. This man is going to burn in hell. He a false prophet. A big slow one at that. Just because you can sing, that don't mean that you should be in somebody's pulpit preaching. And he got a nasty attitude. Nasty. He gonna burn in the lowest pits of hell with his slow ass. Next. So I don't know why we as black people, we always had this opt. Let's let them, we over here. That ain't our problem. I understand that, we not coming to their aid and all of that stuff. But you have to understand that this is Jacob's trouble. And eventually it's going to make its way to us. Because their end goal is to get us. That's their end goal. Yeah, they're going to come through the Somalians and the Asians and, the Hispanics and all of that. But their end goal is to get at us. They coming to ATL next.
Can I go on my car? I was gonna see if my ID was in there. As soon as I do this, you'll check out. What's the first name? Anthony. Common spelling? Yeah, common spelling, yep. Damn, these niggas hopped out on me. Okay. I'll pull out on that. Brother, what? Brother, may I ask you feel what is going on around here? Yeah, I'm a citizen though. I'm about to go to work right now. All right, you check out, sir. Thank you for your time. Oh, shit. Yo, wow, we're good. Damn, bro. You guys really be doing that to people? That's crazy. These niggas really just hopped out on.
But again, remember last week y'all was in the chat screaming it don't got nothing to do with y'all and ICE would never. This were the comments that people were leaving in my chat while my girl was on the phone explaining what was going on in their community.
Make sure y'all visit my girl.
They will, and they are.
Lovely T. See it right there at the bottom.
Wow. You guys, they just hopped out on me, a black American with an afro. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. Brother, I got on a leather jacket, Nikes, and I got on an afro.
What that mean?
That's crazy. That's crazy. And they in regular trucks, y'all. They in regular trucks. Look at what they in. They in regular trucks. Damn. No license. Wagoneer. You guys, that's sad, man. Damn. And they pulling off. Look at that. Look at that. Get that license plate. CWG 9060. And there's people following them. Stay on their ass. Stay on their ass. The fuck?
Sometimes I just feel like our people are just so delusional. It's like we don't get it. We don't want to get it. We don't want to see the signs that's in front of our face. But I got the perfect picture. Perfect picture right here. When you don't know your history or nationality, you're going to look foolish like this. That brother looked foolish. I suggest you pick up a Bible and read Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68. It is time for our people to know and remember who we are. You are the image of God. Wow! Wow! Look. It's about you, man. The Bible is Black history. You better know it. Y'all know me in my pictures. Y'all know me in my pictures. Hebos. Sounds like Ebo. And we know that the Ebo are the descendants of Black Jews. It's been proven. You need to know this. Ham. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. It's because Negroes, we come from Shem. Anytime any of our Black scholars or anything that go against those Ew-ish people, they try to discredit it. I always ask, when you hear about, well, that was discredited by the historians, what color are the historians and who are they? 9 times out of 10, you're going to find out that they white, ashy, nasty, or some type of Ew-ish. So, of course, they're going to try to discredit anything, even if it's the truth. Just like with this whole, them being involved, and I'm talking about the Ewish, the ashy nasties. They was involved. They try to dwindle they roll down in the transatlantic slave trade for years. They denied it at first for years. And then as time went by, right? Sources started coming out, So then they changed it. Oh yeah, well it was less than 1%. So first you denied it, and now that sources that are coming out from people who you can't discredit, now it's, oh yeah, well it was less than 1%. These people are liars. You can't trust nothing that they say. And I tell people all the time, it's going to end in total anarchy. Look, now that it's coming out, these is real people. Throughout my videos, y'all, my 258 videos, I have shown you pictures. I've shown pictures of this Aaron Lopez person. I've shown pictures of him. I've shown pictures of Moses Levy, what they look like. These was real people. They was ew-ish. Real people. The source, Elizabeth Donnan. She was a real person. There we go. Here we go. What does Wiki have to say about her? Was a historian of the slave trade in America and professor emeritus at Wesley College from 1920 to 1949. Graduated from Cornell University. See, when they can't discredit, that's when they'll give in. Oh yeah, well, it was still less than 1%. No, it wasn't. It wasn't less than 1%. Because I want you to think about this. Major companies during those times were Levi's and Fruit of the Loom, right? These were ew-ish owned companies, right? Think about it. What is Levi's jeans made out of? Denim. What is denim made out of? 100% cotton. Who picked that cotton? Who picked the cotton? We did. Black folk did. The real children of Israel that was prophesied to for this, it would happen to us in Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68. We picked that cotton. Cotton was the major cash crop. Okay? The regular, white men, I'm gonna use like Charlie Kirk, for instance. Like the regular white men like Charlie Kirk, they were just the face of the plantation. They didn't own, a lot of them didn't own the plantations or the boats. They got a cut of the profit, right? They got a cut. But the majority of that profit went to those ish owned companies. And the proof is in the pudding, baby. Levi's is still here to this day. One of the most iconic, no, it might not be Chanel or Louis Vuitton or nothing like that, but it's still iconic in its own right. Fruit of the Looms. What are your t-shirts, your underwear, your socks, your wife beaters? What are those made out of? Cotton. When you do the research on both of these companies, you'll see that they were owned by ish people. That's why those companies got so big. The majority of, they had an interest in this. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to see. They had an interest, those ish people, because they own those companies. Okay, yeah, so this is the post that, so I recently posted this, right? Because look, it says Milikowski. That's his real name, not Netanyahu. His real name is Milikowski. He said, we transported black Africans from Africa not to enslave them, but to liberate them, which is lies. And so I said, oh, well, looks like Lil Jon ain't so crazy after all, because I've been saying that they had a role in the transatlantic slave trade. I've been saying that they've stolen our identity for about 10 plus years now. I've been saying this, and people have fought me tooth and nail, and now what I want to bring to the point where, these white men, they're slowly coming to the realization like, hey, these guys aren't the people over here. They're really not the people. But now it's kicking up in their ass. They don't want to answer that question. Well, who are the people? I'm telling you, in this post, if you see in the comment section, they trying to come up with every other African race but Negroes. So now we have to get to this point where now we have to play this little game with them. Now all of a sudden they got workable amnesia. They don't know that it was Negroes in those cargo ships, in those cargo slave ships. They want to say it was Ethiopians when that's not even true. Ethiopians have never went in cargo slave ships like sub-Saharan, quote unquote, Africans. See, they don't want to admit that, hey, we was wrong. But guess what? See, you don't even realize you're not in control anymore. The Most High is doing this. The Most High is doing this. Like, it's like right before he whooped their ass, it's like he's slowly revealing this to them. Because he wants you to know, like, this is what you've done to God's people. So when it finally hits them, like, damn, we've been doing this to God's chosen people. That's when, Remember on them cartoons when something happened and then they just turn white, you know? Or like, remember on the old cartoons when Elmer Fudd would be chasing bugs and they be on the cliff and Elmer will run off the cliff and he'll either change into a donkey or that dunce hat, that pointed dunce hat will appear on his head. That's what white folks gonna go through. The level of slowness in the comment section is appalling. They trying to say it was every African but these black niggas who been saying since the 1960s that black people, aka Negroes, are the real children of Israel who went into slavery via cargo slave ships. And I'm gonna tell you what it is, another part of what it is. See, they want to, I'm telling, because this is how white people are, especially white men. This is how they are. You could tell them something and be right about it. Spot fucking on. But because it wasn't them that came up with it, or because it wasn't them that discovered it, they're going to try to discredit what you're saying so then they can later on reshape it and come out with it like it's some brand new information. It's like if I'm having a conversation with a white man and we come to this, I'm like, yeah, 1 + 1 = 2, right? You know, oh no, that's not true, and you just, everything can't be yours, and all of this, and all of this stuff, like, these excuses that they come up with because they mad because as a people they ain't worth shit. For real. They not. They don't produce anything. The only thing they know is destruction because their forefather was prophesied to rule by the sword. And what you're seeing with President Dump right now, all this talk about Greenland and Cuba and Mexico, that's Esau ruling by the sword. Venezuela, that's Esau ruling by the sword. Him doing what he did to Venezuela. You a whole wannabe dictator, a pimp, a thug, a pedophile. And you got the nerve to tell somebody else in a whole nother country that's not threatening you or your way of life or anything how to treat their people when you send billions of dollars over to these imposters and everybody else, but you forgot that you promised that you was going to send a $2,000 stimulus check. When it comes to your own people in your own land, you treat them like shit, but then you want to go and impose your views and your way of life on everybody else. And I'm not taking up for the Venezuelan president or whoever he is, Maduro, whatever, he's not all the way right. But I would even go as far as to say he a better man than Trump. Dump. Excuse me. And what I don't like is, and I'm gonna stand up for my brothers, even though we might have disagreements and we might, cause like one of the elders who I do watch, but I'm not affiliated with no type of camp or church or anything like that. But I do recognize elders. And, one of them, I was watching a video and he's, even said some of these guys on these corners, they crazy. So I have to make it clear to you, yeah, I am an Israelite, but I don't believe in, one day we're going to take all white people and put them in slavery. I don't believe in that because the Bible does not say that. Oh, we're going to ravish women. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible does not say that. So I'm not one of those guys that's trying to have white people kiss my boots. Oh, but don't get it twisted. I'm going to tell you about yourself. Oh, I will do that. But as far as me wanting you to kiss my boots, hell no. I'm a filthy rag. You just filthier than me. But I'm still a filthy rag. Don't nobody on the face of this earth deserve salvation. Nobody. So these dummies in the Christian church talking about they saved, that's how you know that they don't know scripture. Scripture say those who endure to the end, the same shall be saved. But I still will say this. These guys that's on these corners, that's on the highways and byways, these guys, yeah, they standing out there yelling, cussing people out and, calling people names. But you cannot deny, I don't give a damn who you are. You cannot deny that these brothers that you see in these groups with these signs, they have told you that those people are not the Jews. Even if you don't agree that Negroes, because you hate Negroes in your heart, but you still come into this revelation that, hey, those people aren't it either. Those people aren't in the land of Israel. They're not real. You come into that revelation. You still need to recognize that it was those brothers on the corners dressed like Power Rangers. They are the reason a lot of people know that those people in Israel are not the ancient Israelites that walked out of Egypt with Moses. They've been saying this since the 1960s. They told you who those people are. They come from Khazaria, Georgia. Now you have white men that look like this, and this is and this white man at the bottom, by the way, I hope he keeps on going, because you're going to find out that you're Esau. You're a descendant of Esau. And white men that look like this, and it's no shade to Eric, because I've seen some of his content. I really do like his content. I don't think he's, a bad guy, and I applaud his efforts for what he's doing. But at the same point in time, you finding all of this out, and so it's like these men, to me, they're not going to want to reveal that, hey, Negroes are the real children of Israel. They're going to try to pussyfoot and dance around that subject. Oh, it's the Ethiopians. No, it's the Negroes. But that's okay, because we don't need these guys to validate what we already know. Because they know it in their hearts too. It's just that hatred from their forefather Esau, and I've talked about this on plenty of videos. You need to go back and read Genesis 25, chapter 25. You need to read chapter 27. When Esau, I think it's 27 and 41, when Esau made his decree after, my father, right now I'm mourning for my father, but afterwards I'm going to slay my brother Jacob. That's been their promise since from way back then. They've been trying to carry it out. They're trying to carry it out now. But everything is backfiring. Those 3 bullets that hit that mother, unfortunately, and I do, may she rest in peace. Those was meant for a person of color. But God is stepping in, and just like he's going to step in, and he's going to turn their anger and hatred onto them and cause them to self-destruct. That's what's going on right now. I've been telling y'all the downfall coming to the white man. I've read Obadiah. I know what's coming. Everything that I've been saying for the past 10 plus years. And I didn't learn this on my own. No, there was great men, that came before me that I learned from. I'm going to share a video on my social media page, because I just watched, one of my elders, who I consider elder, even though I'm not a part of their, I'm not affiliated with anybody. But I do pay homage and respect. But I am going to share a video that, they just recently did on my social media. So, because I've never hid who I learned from. Never. I've always been open and honest with everything. So, but yeah, like I said, this guy, I do, like his work. You see, I've even shared his work. So if I was a hater, I wouldn't share his work. But guess what? Everything in this video that he said, I had been saying for years. Wait until he comes across the chemical called luciferase. Luciferase. I've already talked about it. So, like I said, I applaud these guys' efforts, but at the same point in time, they're not gonna want to admit that Negroes are the true children of Israel, and that's gonna be a lot of their where a lot of them fall short. And it's from their insecurities because they've done us so bad that they can't even fathom that we would not mistreat them the way that they mistreated us. But we're not. Once we all get in the kingdom, we're not. But it's only going to be a remnant of them left. On a small remnant of them. Look, I been gave you their history. Long time ago. Look, this was in the news. This is real. Well, looky. Look, these people are atheists. They don't believe in God, nor do they believe in Christ. There's literature on these people. That's what the image of Christ looked like. This is what Christ looked like. Samson. Look black to me. It's a good question. If Yeshaya's color didn't matter, why'd they feel the need to change it? It's him and the woman by the well. Look at him in the background. Black. Christ, black. Depicted as black. Look, angels. See the wings? Black. Like I said. Boom. All black everything. Look pretty black to me, huh? Did you see what I showed you earlier, right? Yeah. See? Because this came first, right? These pictures came first. These pictures, so going back to what I showed you earlier, from with that Zeus looking god, these pictures came first. So what that tells me is that they got mad. And when they took over, they said, we're going to change this. We're going to make everything white. And that's what they did. They repainted over everything. Look. And if one of them was to ask, well, why is there no white people? Because at this time, you didn't exist. You didn't exist. When Abraham walked the earth, you didn't exist. Sadi. Told you. It was prophesied in scripture. Look, this is another picture of Charles II. I've shared this picture so many damn times for the past 10 years. King Solomon. This is from my book I've already wrote. Told you. Milikowski. See, they fooled you. 1948 wasn't no prophecy. It wasn't no prophecy. Because in the scriptures it says that once Israel is brought into the kingdom, there shall be no more study of war. What has been going on since they've been there? War. Look. This man was on Time magazine. This was a real dude, Egyptian president. When he was asked about peace in the Middle East, the late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated the Jews will never be able to live here in peace because they left here black but came back white. That's what this means when he said this. You left here at the top, you left black but came back white, meaning you ain't the same people. They know what's coming to this land. They know. That's why they trying to leave. The jig is up. These people know who they are. Their God is behind them, slowly but surely, waking them up. It's true. Oh, but this is true too. This is very true. This is what's coming next. This is what's coming next. See, Esau, it's Esau. His regime is over with. White man who is 1/85th a Native American. White Latino. Oh, the captions say, I have set aside this cake specifically for you minorities and the minorities. White woman. White man who is 1/85th Native American. White Latino. White gay community. Asian community. And last but not least, Black Americans. But the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Ooh, I ain't gonna even go there. I ain't even trying to go there. I'm not trying to go there. But look who's first. Look what just happened in Minneapolis. And me personally, I thought it was going to be major backlash. You mean to tell me as much crap as y'all talk about, as much as y'all throw, this is a mother and motherhood and, it's about being a mom and she's a mom. And that lady, that happened to her, she's a mom of 3. And all you see in the comments is people defending, the terrorists. That's just crazy to me. And so I said it the other day. They only have solidarity when it's time to come against us. But they don't even care about their own. And Billie Eilish was one of the few. I was once sitting up here wondering, where's Lady Gaga? Where's Adele? Where's Madonna? Where is Taylor Swift? Where's Kelly Clarkson? Where's all these American white women standing up for their own? Billie Eilish was the only one. This is true. This is how Rome fell. Rome in the last days was the same way, and this is how they fell. Every video I do, yeah, because this is true. Right. Exactly. It's close. We are here. We here, y'all. Ooh. How did that get there? That's what it's all about. Greed. That's what it's all about. Look at the bottom. Who on the bottom? What color is they? And they got halos around their heads. Look, got halos around their heads. See? And look at, see, that's Albert Pike right there. One of the most evil men to ever live. Look. But see, their regime is soon to come to an end. I read the book of Obadiah. Only the woke will understand. It's true. They all are ran. They puppets. They are these people that's standing around them. They the ones that pull the strings. Oops. How did that get there? But I'm going to need for you, my black people, to never forget. To never forget. Never forget. See, but when it's them, and I ain't taking up for, the light bulb heads, but see, when it's them, see what they get away with? Look, it's okay for him to do this. I'm telling y'all, you wait. See the people it's a difference. You wait until the American white man, that's Esau, you wait until they fully come to the revelation that these people right here threw them under the bus and left them to make everybody think that they pretty much did everything in the transatlantic slave trade, when it was these people who owned a lot of the ships, a lot of the plantations. They got the majority of the profit, and it went into their companies like Levi's and Fruit of the Looms. But they left all the blame on the, on the white man. It's crazy. But see, when they do it, they get all kind of pardons and everything else. And then what's sad? In the end, this is what you're going to find out. The U.S. government is not legally claiming that modern Jewish people are the biblical Israelites. The misleading language comes from religious rhetoric, not law, which is bullshit to me. See, that was the question I asked. Look, does America recognize the Jewish people as the biblical Israelites? No. The U.S. government does not officially recognize any modern ethnic or religious group as the biblical Israelites. And then you see the rest here. Bottom line, the U.S. does not legally recognize biblical Israel. You see this? Is it deceptive? Morally and rhetorically, many people would agree with you that it is misleading. Legally, it's not fraud because, see, no official claim of biblical lineage is made. Why is it misleading? Most Americans were never officially told this. You are right culturally. Many Americans believe modern Israel is biblical Israel, but that's a lie. Jews are God's chosen people by blood. See, but that belief came from churches, media, Christian Zionism, Cold War propaganda, not from official government policy statements or law. And after this, I'm going to continue on with my Adam and Eve story. And this is what I am reading from the Ethiopian Bible. And this is what it has to say about the Ethiopian Bible. It's the oldest and complete Bible on earth, written in Ge'ez, or Ge'ez, an ancient dead language of Ethiopia. Is nearly 800 years older than the King James Version and contains 81 to 88 books compared to 66. It includes the Book of Enoch, Esdras, Baruch, and all 3 books of Maccabee, and a host of others that was excommunicated from the King James Version. So this is what I'm reading from, because I know I've been talking about this stuff for a very long time. Look at this. From this. These are not the people of God. They're not. They were behind this. They're behind all of this. I'm going to leave you with this. This is coming. I've been talking about this. You see these receipts? These is receipts. I've been in this. I ain't just get here yesterday. Nah, I've been in this since 2014. Been in it. Look at the red lines. 5 years, 7 years. (2020). Receipt. Look at this. A lot of natives was reclassified as Negro. You see the receipt. You see that date? October 14th, 2017. I've been in this. See you on the next video. Love you.